All right. I will say one thing. I do love this deployment overview being the new view. So when you create a VM, you create a storage account, it takes you to this sort of status screen. That's great, Microsoft. So let's go and create our secure storage account. We're going to go and do the virtual network endpoint configuration. Okay. So we've got our brand new storage account. It's hooked up to the resource group. If we go down into the firewalls and virtual networks in the settings table, you can see that we created this storage account with all networks. We're going to want to now add a virtual network. So I don't have any virtual networks on this account. So I'm going to say add virtual network. Okay. So AZ SJD new VNet. Usual virtual network logic where you could create a address space. I'm going to put this in my 101 resource group. Same location, the South Central US. Default subnet. I don't really need a lot of address space, so I'm just going to restrict that. DDoS protection, basic storage, firewall disabled, and create. Okay, so that's going to create a VNet. Should be fairly quick. Now you'll see also on this screen, in terms of adding firewalls and virtual networks, it also has this concept of an IP firewall. And so we can add IP ranges to allow only whitelist IP addresses to access this. So this is a great new feature as well. So if I wanted to basically, instead of restricting it to a VNet, if I was to delete this, I could then also just restrict it to my personal IP address or to the IP address of my company, etc. Allow trusted Microsoft services to access this. So this is going to be your virtual machines that need to create log files and things like that. So basically you're allowing Microsoft's services to use your storage account. Allow read access to storage logging from any network and read access. So this is if you are going to store stuff in the storage account for logging purposes, you're going to want to enable log analytics to get into the storage account. Okay, we're going to leave that turned off for now. So I've added my virtual network. I'm going to hit save. And now, even if I go, so let's go back to the overview screen. I go into my blob account. Okay, if I was to create a new container, so this is like test. Then this storage account would basically, go into properties, this URL will not be accessible from the public internet because we just turned on VNet access, right? The firewall and virtual networks. It has to be a virtual network we just created and not from the public internet. So even if I had the keys, this URL would be no good to me.